All right, thank you so much. Thanks for having me here tonight. This is actually my first event. I filed to run about 10 days ago, 10 or 12 days ago, so it was not a spur of the moment thing. It was something that I quite frankly had to be talked into. And so after careful consideration and talking to Dan Cooper, who was a high school friend of mine and spent 21 years in the State House, he told me things would be okay and that I would be okay to do it. So I made the decision to go ahead and file to run. I am not a politician. I'm going to tell you straight up, I am not. I'm probably too forthright, and I learned by being a department chair at Miami University, my politicking skills were severely lacking. I'm one of those college professors you referred to earlier that, quite frankly, toward the end of my career, I didn't do much. I taught one class a semester, I had the biggest office in the building, but I did bring in grant money for the university, so it was kind of a trade-off. I basically bought myself out of classes, right? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be reformed. I come from District 10. I grew up there, left to go away to college, but moved back there in 2020. District 10 is Powdersville, Piedmont, Williamston, a little sliver of Pickens County. I actually live in Pickens County. A little sliver of Greenville County as well. So it's one of those districts that actually has Anderson, Greenville, and Pickens County as its constituency, which is kind of odd, right? Probably the two largest areas of Powdersville and Piedmont. I don't know if anybody ever gets down those areas, down that way, but our district is severely lacking in a lot of things. That's primarily the reason I chose to run, is because I don't feel that we've had effective leadership from our district for the past 4 years. I don't know Thomas Beach. I've never met him. I've looked at some of the things he supports. I agree with some of them. I don't agree with some of them, just like everything else in life, right? And so when I attend events like these, my goal is to let you know who I am, what my positions are, and for you to make a decision for yourself, who's going to be the better person to represent our interests in the State House. Is it going to be Beach or is it going to be Watson? Obviously, I wouldn't run if I didn't think I was the better guy, right? So I like Brandy, have full intention of winning this race. Now, what are some of the things that I believe in? Number one, or what are the main things I'm going to focus on in my campaign? Number one is infrastructure. If you've seen the roads in our district, you know they're horrible, number one. We have bridges that were built in 1948. I understand bridges are a huge concern. I mean, the bridge on Highway 81 that leads from Powdersville to Greenville is out. It's going to be out for another many months. I know that's a huge concern. But the problem in my district is you can't have this phenomenal exponential growth of housing, single-family housing and multi-unit housing, and bringing in businesses without concurrent improvements in infrastructure. We've had a lot of development. Literally neighborhoods with 500, 600, 700 homes in those neighborhoods, and with no concurrent improvements or changes in the existing infrastructure. You have to ask yourself, how can that happen? How can a community or a district let itself grow to that point, but yet not keep up with its infrastructure? And in fact, as its infrastructure deteriorates, we're going to continue to grow and build more and more and more, right? As our area, as our district continues to grow, and you build another 12, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 homes in our district, guess what you're going to need? Public schools. There is a public school under construction on Oak Road, an elementary school. It's already filled to its max. When it opens its doors for children in September, it's going to be full. So tell me where those other 1,000 elementary kids are going to go to school. There's been no plans for that. Second thing I believe in very strongly is tax reduction for citizens. I'm going to tell you straight out, there is no reason why a business should have to pay business property tax each and every year. That's the state reaching into your back pocket and not even doing it slyly, but doing it by force, taking your money that you've earned as a small business owner, taking your money and pulling it out of your pocket. And I don't believe that's fair. Along the same lines, I don't believe in paying personal property tax. Why should you have to pay tax on something that you own and you pay it every year? Your vehicle tax, your home tax. I can't believe that and I count myself when I say I can't believe we've let ourselves get in this situation, but I can't believe we have. We have given our government so much power to reach into our pocketbooks and take what's rightfully ours. And we've got to stop that. And you know what else I think we need to do about taxation? There are 7 states in this country that have no state income tax. And you know what? They do really, really well. Why can South Carolina not be one of those states? There's other ways of generating revenue, and we know what they are. It's just a matter of us putting the effort and the momentum together to do those sorts of things. I'm a college professor. I can talk all day, but I'll try not to, I promise. You know, one of the things we talk about improving education at the elementary and secondary levels, right? And people often think, and it's incorrect, they think we need more technology in the public schools. We don't. We need less technology in the public schools. Recent studies, and I was a child psychologist for 20 years. I'm very familiar with child psychology, cognitive development, cognitive growth, and protecting children. So I know all of those lines. This generation is the first generation that is not smarter than its parents' generation. All the testing has shown, and I know this because I used to do test reviews, IQ test reviews for the major publishing houses. And every year, every time the test was revised, it was revised to reflect smarter kids coming on board, right? What we found this time is that when they revised the test this time, the kids weren't smarter than the generation that preceded them. And there's a direct link in looking at the scores of children, IQs. You look at the scores and cognitive development scores and IQs of children, the more time they spent, the more screen time they had, the lower their cognitive development scores were and their IQ scores. So the answer to education is not to put them in front of a computer and give them more access to technology. That's not the way to make our kids smarter, brighter, and more motivated. And so when I get to the State House, I will make sure that we do the right things for kids by not parking them in front of technology. Actually get our teachers back to teaching the thing that they went into teaching to do, get them doing their jobs so that they can better educate our kids and prepare them for the future. Those are the major things. I think there's some other things I want to do. Bring more business, help bring more business to my district. I like the idea of the agribusiness because we're still basically an agricultural community. District 10 is very, very agricultural. But there's a lot of things that I think that need to be fixed. Not that I have the answers. I have a lot of questions. And I'm not a politician, so I don't know all the answers. I don't know the issues. I don't know the bill numbers. I'm going to learn them. But those are the primary things that are going to be my focus when I get to the State House. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much. And if we have time for questions, I don't know if we do.
You have a question
Okay.
too?
Okay.
No.
Yes, sir.
Where were you a professor?
I'm sorry.
Where were you a professor? Where?
Okay. So from 1991 to 2003, I was at Mississippi State University. I was the director of clinical training and child psychology at Mississippi State University. I did a 2-year sabbatical, a 1.5-year sabbatical at the University of Nebraska Medical Center and Creighton Medical School, where I assisted St. Joe's Hospital in opening up their outpatient ambulatory behavioral pediatrics unit. And then from there, I was hired to go to Miami University, and I was department chair there for 5 of the 7 years. After year 5, I decided this is not for me. I had risen to my level of incompetence as a department chair, and I said, I'm just going to go back and be a regular professor. And I did that until I retired from college teaching in 2011.
Were you the only conservative in the whole school?
Well, I can tell you some interesting stories about, yes, I was actually at Miami University. Miami like to call themselves the public Harvard because it cost a lot of money to go there and they attracted a lot of wealthy kids that came there. But it was a very liberal school. And that's one of the reasons why, and I understand some of the problems with tenure. We do have to be very careful about altering those things because if we don't have some protection for professors, particularly conservative professors who speak out on college campuses, that's an easy way to get rid of conservative professors, is just to fire them. So I'm not saying that tenure is right or wrong, I'm just saying that we have to be very careful when we look at policies to change tenure, because tenure was instituted as a protected mechanism so that people just couldn't randomly fire professors they didn't like or were not towing the party line. So we have to be very careful about that. Yes, sir, you had a question?
So you mentioned development without infrastructure upgrading. One thing that has surprised me about South Carolina is that it's state law, and I'm paraphrasing, and Alex, please correct me if I'm wrong, but basically, if a city wants to annex, the county cannot stop it. I believe this is the first place I've lived where that's the case.
I don't know that. I don't have the answer to that.
It's true. I mean,
Okay,
unfortunately, I
that's
don't
all.
have the code for it,
Okay.
I was going to that needs to be reformed.
Yes,
It's, you know, if I live in the county, as I do,
right.
and easily wants to annex me, I really don't want him to. And I can't appeal, as I understand the way it works now, is I cannot appeal my county council, frankly, to say if my neighbors, and I forget the fraction or what it is.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have is that the county government has actually raised restrictions on development, so houses have to be less and further apart. They're trying to slow the success of growth. Now, what the cities are doing is generally reaching for revenue. So what they do is they get a developer who's just one owner who buys 100 acres just connecting out to the outside of the city. And he can just say, yes, bring me in. And come under the rules of the cities, which typically are higher density.
Right,
So that's why like Central just annexed, I think, 1,000 acres. You know, against, you know, many of the people in that area. Because the owner was one person and went to the city and said, annex us, and they're gonna build 1,400 homes. Now they're coming to the county government to expand sewer capacity, so they can do that, and that's difficult for them. We don't want to do it, so that's putting a restriction on their development.
Sure,
But that annexation has got to be tempered with, one, the county having a say in some way, shape, or form. Having the public have, you know, council have to have meetings, and the public, and the cities too. So it's kind of works both ways. But if people want to de-annex, they should be able to do that as well.
Right. Well, and one of the problems in my district, you know, Powdersville constitutes a large portion of my district. It's unincorporated. It's not municipalized in any way. We have we're served by volunteer fire department throughout our district, except for the city of Anderson. We don't have a police department. We have a water company that actually buys the water from Greenville, from Rewa, and that's how we get our water. And now they're trying to upgrade, they're in the process now of upgrading the water delivery system because there's been so much growth and development. Our county council in Anderson County has been a little bit different. They're not the philosophy of building less houses and spread them out. It's let's build more houses and pack them in like a bunch of sardines. Because I know what they're looking at. They're looking at, oh, these property tax values, this is going to be great for property tax. We're going to increase our millage. We're going to raise another $32 million or whatever it happens to be. I just picked that number out of the air. So that's what they're looking at without that concurrent thought of, okay, where are we going to put things? So when you build houses, other goods and services have to come to those areas, right? Convenience stores, grocery stores, again, schools. Where are you going to put those things? Are there any plans for that? Why is some of the cost of that infrastructure improvement not passed on to the developer as it should be? We don't do that. And so those are some of my concerns about why we're not doing those things and why we are allowing our infrastructure to deteriorate at such a rapid rate, and just the traffic patterns. I mean, the traffic, if you've ever been through my district, at any time, I don't know where people go and come from, I really don't. I'll just sit out sometimes and look like between 85 and Easley, South Carolina, on 153, there's cars all the time. I'm like, where the heck are they going? Where are they coming from? I don't know. That many people does not live in Easley. So it's just kind of confusing to me. Ma'am, you had a question?
Will you support parental rights to homeschool their children?
Question?
Will you support parental rights to homeschool their children?
Oh my God, yes. Yes, absolutely. I think parents have the ultimate decision about whether to send their kids to public school, private school, charter school, magnet school, homeschool. Why should the government be telling parents what to do with their children's education? Okay. I just don't believe they should. Homeschooling is a growing concept. You know, when I was a kid in school, I started REM school in 1969, so I'll be 63 years old this August. There was no such thing as homeschool back then. If there were, you didn't hear about it. Maybe one kid that couldn't afford to, come to school, maybe they were homeschooled, or parents wouldn't let them come to school. But now the homeschool movement is really growing. You have coalitions of homeschoolers, and I just don't think the government, any government, should be in the business of telling people, parents, what the best education is for their children. That's a parental decision to make. It really is.
All right. Well, okay, one more.
What is your position on closing primaries?
Closing primaries. Closed primaries?
Close.
What is your position on closed primaries?
I haven't really thought about that much, to tell you the truth. I have to think about that a little bit. And if I have trouble hearing you, I wear 2 hearing aids, but it helps sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. If there's a lot of background noise, it's hard for me to
Yeah,
hear.
it's hard. Right there.
But I'll have to think about that. I don't want to say something that's misleading or not really my position, so let me think about that a little bit.
I can tell you this, the only reason Lindsey Graham is still in Congress is because we have open primaries.
Okay.
Right.
We can close this.
Again, thank you guys very much for all your time. I appreciate it. Again, I'm a short distance away, so anything you need or want to contact me or invite me to other events, I am available. Thank you.